Hey guys, what's up? I'm Zach. Welcome to Zach's Soapbox. This is the video for the week of Friday, October 24th, 2025. What's up, everybody? I'm Zach. Welcome to my Soapbox, where once a week I get on here, speak my mind, talk about whatever I want to talk about. You never know what I'm going to talk about here on the Soapbox. And then you guys give me likes, comments, shares, feedback. You love me, you hate me, everything in between. And, you know, things like that. So, welcome to my Soapbox. Please feel free to like, comment, and share and all this and that. But okay, this week the topic is long distance relationships. About between 2011 and 2012, I was in a long distance relationship with a woman that lived about 300 miles from where I used to live, and we used to go back and forth. We used to see each other a lot. I think the longest we ever went without seeing each other was like 2 months. And I'd go down there, and she'd come up to see me and things like that. And people often say, like, I had a buddy, his name was Jared, and he often used to say, well, long distance relationships don't work anyway, Zach, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, they do, but the long distance has to be temporary. So I wrote down like 9 observations or 10 observations or so that I've made through being in a long distance relationship, even like talking on the phone, like as a person who's wheelchair bound, a lot of your friends and things are going to be online, on the telephone. So, like as a disabled person, oftentimes you end up in a lot of long distance relationships, be they platonic relationships or romantic or otherwise. A lot of your friends are online, particularly when you're disabled and things like that. I noticed for me. So, this is going to apply to me and people in some similar situations where a lot of your friends, like I said, are online. But let's get started. Long distance relationships. They do work, but they require effort from both sides. Okay? You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have periods where you're doubting whether this is going to work, so on and so forth. But, you go see her, she comes to see you, and then, you have time apart too, that sort of thing. But they require 100% from both sides. It ain't 50-50, it's 100-100 from both people involved. Another thing I'd suggest is if visits aren't feasible, then make your video calls longer. Make your visits when you do see each other longer. Stay on the phone longer. Talk to each other more. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And ultimately also have an end goal. The long distances are just supposed to be temporary. It's not supposed to be forever. You're not going to be in a long distance relationship with someone for 10 fucking years. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be temporary to where eventually one of you bite the bullet, or maybe you meet in the middle, but eventually the plan is for you two to live together. That sort of thing. So always have that goal in mind, and always keep those communication open and things. Number 3, focus on like the quality of time rather than the quantity of time. Whereas when you see each other every day, you start to take each other for granted. So focus on quality over quantity. And, maybe you don't see each other every day, but when you do see each other, you're going to the movies, you're going to dinner, you're kissing, you're caressing, you're making love, all those things that make relationships great. You're kind of cramming it all in when you do see each other. So make those visits count, you know what I mean? And focus on quality over quantity. And then eventually as you build, make your trips longer, stay down there, stay with her longer, have her stay with you longer, that sort of thing, you know what I mean? And talk about your goals, hopes, and dreams, and, build the trust and help build your future about what you want out of the relationship, what you want out of life, you know what I mean? Things like that. Number 5, a relationship is an investment, and investments require consistency. So not every day and not every visit's going to be the best, and you know what I mean, that sort of thing. But they require time, which is an investment, and they require consistency, just like any other investment that pays off. Investments, require work and require time and attention. Number 6, there's something to be said for like in a long distance relationship, because as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Whereas Sometimes when you're away from somebody, it makes you miss them more and you appreciate them more. And that sort of thing. So absence makes the heart grow fonder. So one thing with a long distance relationship, it almost can make you guys stronger because it forces you to kind of face adversity. And like a long distance relationship is one of the first adversities two people can face is the distance between two people. It can suck. You know what I mean? Nobody ever says, "Oh, my girlfriend lives in California and I live in Georgia. Our relationship is great." They say long distance relationships suck because they do. But again, the distance is just supposed to be temporary. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Um, so, you know, when you don't see your lover or don't see your friend, um, it makes you miss them more. You know what I mean? Let's see. I only got a couple more things here for you. The next things is talk about your emotions. Communication is key. That is to say, if you're feeling sad because it's time for you to go back home, you got to go to work, you got to go to school, whatever, and your visit's over, talk about how that makes you feel and talk about your emotions. Oh, baby, I'm going to miss you. Oh, but then while you're talking about that, also talk about the next time you come down or she comes up to you and what you're going to do and how you're going to do things and go places and do this and do that, you know? Talk about those sort of things. Communication is always key. However, one thing I will say, make and let communication be organic. Don't, oh, you got to call me every day at 5 p.m. your time. We got to talk for 2 hours every single day, and if we don't, it ain't worth it. Yes, I mean, it's always important to talk to your boyfriend, girlfriend, lover, and whatnot. However, sometimes you want to have it be organic where you got 5 minutes and you just want to pick up the phone and hear their voice and talk to them, you know, and hear them smile. You know, when they answer the phone and say hello, it's almost like you can hear them smile, that sort of thing. So it's important to have communication, but let it be organic. If they had a hard day at work and just don't feel like talking and their boss is bitching at them or something, maybe they don't feel like talking that day. You know what I mean? And you also don't want to be in a long distance relationship where you take out your worries and frustrations on the person that's 500 miles away from you. You know what I mean? To where they get pissed off and then you're worried about, are they out getting their freak on with somebody else? Are they breaking up with me? Are they cheating? What have you? Right? Uh, and like I said, talk about the next time you're going to see each other. Give yourselves something to look forward to. You know what I mean? It helps the time go faster when you say, well, the next time I see you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Give yourself something to look forward to. But also give each other the space and things. You know what I mean? Don't be up each other. Yes, you want to make quality time over quantity time, but not so much the way you want to be up each other's asses 24/7. If she's in the other room watching a movie and you're out in the living room watching a ball game, that doesn't mean that, you know, although the relationship ain't going to work because she's watching a chick flick in the bedroom and I'm watching the football game on the TV in the living room, you know? That's not a big deal, you know? Um, like the last thing I'll say is um, don't make sure you spend a lot of time together too, because here's the thing: when you only see each other every so often, you tend to rose color the relationship. That is to say, for the first few months, you only see the good in the person. It ain't till 6 months, 7 months, a year into the relationship that you start to realize this person's an asshole. Okay, one thing about a long distance relationship is you want to rose color your boyfriend, girlfriend, because you don't get to see them that often. So it's all kisses, hugs, and lovey dovey all the time. Whereas in mundane life, when you're next to the person, you know, and they're with you every day and they're picking their fucking nose and flicking it on the floor and you find it disgusting, but it's their little idiosyncrasy. Um, you know, casual contact, no big fucking deal. But remember, you have to live with this person. So then every day you see them pick their fucking nose and flick it on the floor. They scratch their ass and burp and fart, you know, that sort of thing. Um, so the mundane life, one of the things with, like I said, long distance relationship is the mundane life kind of gets overlooked. And it isn't like until you're together for weeks or months. Like when I used to go see my girlfriend back in the day, sometimes I'd spend 3 weeks at a time down in York. Or she'd come up to see me up in my end of PA, in Western PA, and come up for 3 weeks at a time. So you're shitting together in the same toilet. You're brushing your teeth in the same sink. You're showering in the same shower. You know what I mean? It's not lovey-dovey fairy tale all the time. So one of the things with like a long distance relationship, it almost can play a trick on you because you don't see the person for the mundane in their mundane life. When you see them, it's them in their best behavior. Anybody can behave, or anybody can, not pick their nose for 5 minutes. But can they not pick their nose for 2 years? Can they not pick their nose for 6 months, etc., etc.? So don't get so caught up in the kind of excitement of a long distance relationship and the infatuation that you forget to overlook the mundane and see the person for what they really are. So allow the relationship time to breathe and time to develop. Don't jump into anything, just like anything else. You know what I mean? Um, but so, anyways, guys, that kind of concludes the video for this week. It's all I have. But always, also, make sure like you send that text message, talk dirty to your girlfriend, have that phone sex, send that dick pic, etc., etc. Keep those communication lines open and build that trust. You know what I'm saying? It works, but just like any other, like when you build a bridge, if you're building a bridge between two spaces, you know what I mean? You might start it on one side and start it on another side and meet in the middle. But, in order to make a bridge, you got to enforce it with rebar and with steel and things like that. So give a relationship time. If you build a relationship too fast, it's like building a house out of matchsticks where it just collapses. Whereas if you take the time to let the relationship develop and breathe, you're able to build it out of stronger material. So when a storm comes, because storms are inevitable in relationships, good, bad, or indifferent, not everything is a fairy tale. So you're going to have bad days in a relationship, bad times in a relationship. But build that strong bridge. This way, when the storm comes, it doesn't just wipe the bridge out. You know what I'm saying? And don't base it on superficial things. So, but anyways, guys, that concludes the video for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to tune in next week. Feel free to like, comment, and share on this video. Let me know if I hit the nail on the head or missed it completely. And next week's Halloween, so I don't know what I'll have for you, but I'll think of something. All right, guys, bye.